let's get one thing straight. Most men have no idea when they're being psychologically tested. They think it's just part of getting to know her. A casual chat, a random silence, or a subtle comment meant to stir something inside them. But the truth is far from innocent. Some women play the game on a different level. And if you don't see it coming, you lose without even knowing you were playing. See, a lot of guys think the key to winning her over is by being nice, available, and emotionally open. But that's exactly what makes you easy to control. Because once a woman knows she can influence how you think, how you feel, and how you act, you've already handed over your power. And from that moment on, she's the one in control. Now here's where Stoicism flips the script. A Stoic man doesn't react. He observes. He doesn't fall for surface-level emotions. He studies behavior. He knows the game being played, but never plays it the way they expect. And that's what makes him dangerous. That's what makes him unforgettable. So in this video, I'm breaking down 7 psychological tricks women use. And more importantly, how to stay 2 steps ahead of them by mastering your mind like a true Stoic. Before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe if you're ready to transform how you handle relationships using the power of Stoicism. Every video is a step toward mastering your mindset and building stronger, more meaningful connections. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the first psychological trick. And trust me, you've seen this one before. The delayed response game. She leaves your message on read. You see that she's online, posting stories, liking photos, active in the comments, but your message? Still sitting there, unanswered. Now here's where most men fail. They start overthinking it. Did I say something wrong? Should I double text? Is she losing interest? And before they even realize it, they're already playing defense. Their confidence drops, their energy shifts, and they fall right into the trap. But here's the truth. This isn't about her being busy. This isn't her forgetting to reply. This is a calculated move, a silent test. She's checking how much power she has over you. Because the moment you react, whether it's chasing, over-texting, or getting emotional, you've just told her, "You control how I feel." That's where most men lose. But a Stoic man, he doesn't play that game. He sees it for what it is, a tactic meant to shift the emotional power in her favor. And instead of chasing validation, he leans back. He stays grounded. He lets silence be silence. Because here's what you need to remember. Your value is not measured by how quickly she replies. And more importantly, your inner peace is not up for negotiation. If you let her delay shake your confidence, you're not just reacting, you're submitting. But when you remain unmoved, unbothered, unaffected, that's when the dynamic flips. She starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing? Why doesn't he care? And just like that, curiosity turns to intrigue, and intrigue turns to attraction. In Stoicism, power is rooted in self-control. And when you stop letting her timing control your emotions, that's when you reclaim your power. So next time she pulls the delayed response trick, don't flinch, don't double text, don't spiral, breathe, detach, move forward. Let your calm silence speak louder than any message you could ever send. Here's another subtle trick that most guys never catch until it's already messing with their mind. Compliment withdrawal. At first, she's all over you. You're so different from other guys. You're really attractive. I love your energy. It feels good. You start thinking, damn, maybe she really sees me. But then, out of nowhere, the compliments stop. Suddenly, nothing you do gets acknowledged. You hit her up with a clever message, no reaction. You get a fresh haircut, no mention. You're putting in effort and she gives you nothing back. And that silence, it's loud. It starts to eat at you. You begin to question yourself. Did I lose the spark? Am I doing something wrong? And here's the trap. You start working harder for her approval. You adjust your behavior. You become more available. You chase the validation you were once getting so easily. But here's what you didn't realize. The compliment withdrawal was the plan all along. It wasn't an accident, it was a shift in control. She gave you a taste of emotional validation, and now she's using the absence of it to test your self-worth. It's no longer about connection, it's about leverage. So what does the average guy do? He caves, he gets needy, he starts performing for attention. But a Stoic man, he recognizes the silence and remains still. Because a man of true value doesn't depend on praise to know who he is. He doesn't need someone to clap for him to keep walking his path. Validation, he gives it to himself. He knows this move is meant to destabilize him emotionally, to make him question his worth. But instead of reacting, he stays grounded, calm, centered, unshaken. Why? Because the absence of praise doesn't change reality. It only reveals intent. And when you stop chasing compliments, that's when she starts wondering why her silence doesn't affect you. That's real power. That's Stoicism in motion. So the next time she stops saying the things she used to, don't panic, don't shrink, don't chase, just smile. Keep moving forward and let your quiet confidence echo louder than her silence ever could. Now let's talk about a classic move that flies under the radar but hits you right where it hurts. If you're not grounded, the jealousy seed trick. She brings up another guy, but not in a dramatic or obvious way. She's too smart for that. No, it's subtle, casual. She'll say something like, "Oh, my coworker Jake is hilarious. We always laugh so much at work." Or, "My ex randomly messaged me today. So weird." And then she watches you closely, not the words you say, but the energy behind them. Does your posture shift? Do your eyes change? Do you ask questions you wouldn't normally ask? Because that's the real game. She's not sharing information. She's planting a seed of doubt, a seed of comparison. She wants to see, will you flinch? Will you compete? Will you crack? Because if you do, that's power to her. Not in a malicious way necessarily, but as a subconscious test, a way to measure how much control she has over your emotional state. And let me tell you, most men fail this test. They get cold, they get passive-aggressive, or worse, they start trying harder to prove their worth. But a Stoic man, he doesn't react. He doesn't even blink, because he knows another man's name doesn't threaten his value. He's not in competition with anyone, not Jake, not the ex, not the fantasy she's trying to create in your head. He stays grounded in who he is, calm, observant, unshaken. Why? Because true power is silent. It doesn't rush to defend itself. It doesn't need to mark territory. It simply is. A Stoic man listens, but he doesn't engage the bait. He sees the game and chooses not to play. Because the second you act jealous, you're telling her, you have emotional power over me. But when you stay still, when you smile and move on with peace in your heart, you send a different message. I am complete with or without your validation. And that's what actually makes her wonder. So next time she mentions that funny guy at work, let her talk, let her test, let her try. But remember, real strength is felt in your lack of reaction. That's Stoicism, and that's what separates men who are played from men who are remembered. Hold up for a second. If you've been watching and thinking, damn, I've seen this before and didn't even notice it, then I want you to do something for me. Pause for just 10 seconds and drop this in the comments. A Stoic man sees through the noise. Not only does it show me you're really here for the message, it also tells YouTube this video hits different. And who knows, your comment might be the one that inspires another man to wake up. So go ahead, type it now. A Stoic man sees through the noise. Let's see who's actually paying attention. All right, back to the game. Let's move on to something more subtle, but incredibly powerful when done right. The mirroring interest move. You start talking about your favorite book. Suddenly, she's read it too. You mention a niche podcast or a weird philosophy you're into. She's always been curious about it. You like Stoicism? Wow, so does she. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's the truth most men don't realize. This isn't always about shared passions. It's about creating a fast bond. It's one of the oldest psychological tricks in the book, mirroring. See, when someone reflects your interests back at you, your brain lights up. You feel seen, understood, connected. And for many men, especially the ones who don't get that often, it feels like magic. She gets me, you think, but let's step back. What's really happening? She's building trust, fast. And with that trust, she gains access to your time, to your emotions, to your attention. Now, this isn't always manipulative. Sometimes it's innocent, but when it's calculated, it's powerful. Because now you're the one opening up. You start talking more, sharing more, investing more, and all she had to do was reflect your image back to you. But here's where the Stoic man separates himself. He's not impressed by reflections. He listens, yes, but he observes. He asks, is this interest consistent? Is it authentic? Does it go deeper than surface-level agreement? Because a man who values clarity over connection doesn't rush to feel understood. He knows who he is. He doesn't need someone to echo him back for validation. He doesn't confuse familiarity with depth. That's Stoicism. It's standing still while everyone else rushes to connect. It's being deliberate while others are reactive. It's seeing the pattern without falling for the performance. So the next time she says, I love that too, ask yourself, is she walking beside you or just reflecting your steps? A Stoic man doesn't need clones. He needs truth. And truth doesn't always come dressed in agreement. Now this one catches most men off guard. Emotional confession bombs. You're texting. Things are light, casual, even a bit flirtatious. Then suddenly, she drops something heavy. My dad was never really there for me. I have trust issues. I've been hurt before. I don't usually open up to people, but with you, it feels different. And in that moment, you feel something shift. You feel special, trusted, chosen. But here's the trap. It wasn't a full story. It was just enough to pull you in. See, this isn't just vulnerability. It's strategic vulnerability. It creates a psychological hook. You feel like you can't just walk away now because she shared something deep, something personal, and now you feel responsible. You try to comfort her. You reassure, you show empathy. You start investing emotionally because you think you've been given access to her heart. But here's the Stoic truth. Not all emotional confessions are invitations. Some are anchors. Not every sad story is a cry for help. Sometimes it's a test, a way to see if you'll bend, if you'll chase, if you'll prioritize her feelings over your own clarity. And here's the danger. When you get emotionally attached to someone's pain, you stop seeing their pattern. You justify red flags. You excuse behavior. You become the fixer. But a Stoic man, he listens deeply. He hears the story, but he doesn't get lost in it because he understands. Emotions are not commands. Feeling for someone doesn't mean following them. Understanding her pain doesn't mean absorbing it. He stays grounded, centered, unmoved by sudden drops of vulnerability that aren't followed by consistent openness. Because real connection isn't just emotional exposure, it's mutual growth, it's steady presence, it's earned over time. So next time she drops a confession bomb out of nowhere, pause. Don't run to fix, don't try to save, just listen, observe, and remember, empathy without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. And just when you think things are going smoothly, she hits you with this one, the silent test. You're texting consistently, there's rhythm, flow, energy, then suddenly, silence, no message, no call, no explanation. You check her status. She's online, posting stories, liking memes. But to you, nothing. This is the silent test. It's not an accident. It's not that she got busy. It's calculated. Why? Because in silence, your true nature is revealed. Do you panic? Do you double text? Do you ask, did I do something wrong? Or worse, do you try harder to earn back her attention? That's the trap. She's not observing your words. She's observing your reaction to absence. And here's where most men fail. They confuse her silence with rejection, and so they chase. They abandon self-respect in exchange for a reply. But a Stoic man, he doesn't flinch. He understands that external validation is fleeting, and that silence from others has nothing to do with his internal peace. She disappears. So what? He still wakes up early. He still trains. He still builds, reads, leads, stays on mission, because her absence doesn't create a void unless he allows it. Silence is not punishment. It's information. It tells you everything about how she handles conflict, attention, and connection. And more importantly, it reveals your own level of self-control. So the next time she vanishes without warning, don't chase, don't react. Stand still, breathe, and remember, her silence is a test, but your discipline is the answer. And finally, the softest trick, but one of the most dangerous, because it doesn't attack your pride, it attacks your hope. The "let's just be friends" soft control. She says it gently, almost kindly. Let's just be friends. And on the surface, it sounds reasonable, respectful, even mature. But underneath, it's emotional limbo. She gets the benefit of your presence, your energy, your protection, your emotional support, while giving none of the romantic commitment you once aimed for. You're no longer the man she desires, but she still wants to keep you around. Why? Because you're comfortable, because you give her a sense of security, because while she explores other options, you're the backup. It's not friendship. It's control through kindness. And most men fall for it. They think, if I stay close, maybe she'll change her mind. If I prove I'm different, maybe she'll see my value. But the truth is brutal. You don't prove your value by staying. You prove it by walking away. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't cling to what used to be. He doesn't beg for scraps of attention. And he definitely doesn't rent space in someone else's life without a clear role. If she only offers friendship, and that's not what you want, you respectfully decline, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Because when you say no to what doesn't serve you, you say yes to your peace, to your time, to your dignity. A woman may try to keep you close without giving you her heart. But a Stoic knows proximity without purpose is a prison, and he doesn't live in cages. So now you see it. These aren't accidents. They're not just how women are. They're psychological plays, subtle moves designed to test your emotions, your confidence, your self-worth. And the average man? He reacts, he chases, he overthinks, and in doing so, he gives away his power. But you're not average. You're a student of Stoicism. And that means you play a different game. You don't react, you observe. You don't chase, you attract. You don't beg, you decide. Because true strength isn't loud. It doesn't shout or seek approval. It stands still while the world tries to shake it. Women will test you. Life will test you. But a Stoic man remains grounded, calm, clear, unshakable. So the next time you notice one of these tricks, don't fall for it. Don't fight it. Just smile internally and let your silence say, I see exactly what this is, and I rise above it. Now tell me, which of these tricks have you seen before, but didn't recognize until now? Drop it in the comments. And if you found power in these insights, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom designed for men who refuse to be ordinary. Until next time, stand tall, think clear, Stay stoic.